Right now, I am buying late Sword and Shield booster boxes. I think these are all at a really great price right now. I think they're very undervalued, and I think they're fantastic sets that can age very, very well, similar to late Sun and Moon sets like Unbroken Bonds, right? Something like Brilliant Stars, I think, can be comparable to Unbroken Bonds, because Unbroken Bonds was sitting in that $400, $500 range for a very, very long time until it eventually shot up to $1,000 and now $2,000 plus dollars, right? Something like Brilliant Stars, something like Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, Astral Radiance. I think these are all booster boxes that can hit that $1,000 to $2,000 range in the next couple of years. These are boxes that have a relatively low supply, right? Brilliant Stars only has 81 boxes currently on the markets, and these are boxes that are currently consolidating, and they're ready to make that next leg up, right? Brilliant Stars, I believe, will be around a $500 to $600 booster box by the end of the year. Lost Origin, I believe, will be at least a $700 booster box by the end of the year. Silver Tempest, I think, will definitely hit over $500, and the same thing with Astral Radiance. I think this will be over a $500 booster box. Let's first take a look at Lost Origin, which is the most expensive of these booster boxes, and I'm going to tell you guys what my position is in each of these sets, as well as where I think these sets are going to go in the future and what my plan is for these sets. So Lost Origin is the best of the Trainer Gallery sets in Sword and Shield, Trainer Gallery booster boxes. This is currently about a $600 booster box. It's hard to find this under $600 now, and I have 13 of Lost Origin booster boxes. If you saw my video showing my portfolio, I believe Lost Origin will be a top 3 mainline set in Sword and Shield. I think it's right behind Fusion Strike, and I could even see a scenario in the future if Trainer Gallery cards like, this Pikachu, like this Gengar, like this Charizard, if these cards really start taking off and become a lot more desirable down the line, because right now they're desirable but not as much as alternate arts or some of the more rare cards to pull, because these are relatively easy to pull. But if they really demand a premium in the future, and sets like Lost Origin get more and more scarce, so even Trainer Gallery cards are going to be scarce in the future, once that happens, I do believe there's a chance that Lost Origin surpasses Fusion Strike and becomes that number 2 booster box. Will it happen? I don't know, but it's definitely a possibility, and Lost Origin has the best chance to do so out of all the Trainer Galleries, in my opinion. My current plan for Lost Origin is to keep holding until it gets to about that $1,500 to $2,000 booster box range, and I really do think that's going to happen in less than 5 years. I would say even less than 3. If you've seen what's happened to sets in the late Sun and Moon era, like Unbroken Bonds, Unified Minds, Cosmic Eclipse, those are all easily over $2,000 now, and they were in that $300, $400, $500 range for the longest time. And I really do think that Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest, these sets are going to do exactly the same as late Sun and Moon. Now, are these better sets than late Sun and Moon? Not right now, right? I think late Sun and Moon sets are definitely a lot better. I think the tag team cards are more iconic, and a lot of people desire those more than these Trainer Galleries right now. But these Trainer Galleries, especially, this Pikachu, right? Very, very iconic with Ash right there. I think these are going to be some of the most desirable cards in the future once these age a little bit, right? Once these get to the age of current Sun and Moon, I really do think these are going to be just as desirable, if not more. So Lost Origin, absolutely great set. Has the Giratina, top 3 chase card of Sword and Shield, and then you have very, very good artwork, Aerodactyl. You have the 2 Pikachus, Rotom, Gengar. You really can't go wrong with this set. Super, super great Trainer Gallery. You have the Pikachu as well. You have the Charizard. A lot of the Kanto favorites are in this set, so I really do think this will do well. Next set is going to be Brilliant Stars. This, I think, is super underrated. I just picked up my first booster box of this, actually, just yesterday for $400. So if you can find this for around that $400 range, or maybe even a little bit less than $400, it's really getting hard to find Brilliant Stars for around that $400 range. A lot of people are selling it for like $420, $450 now, but I was able to get it for $400 after taxes and shipping. And I really do think this Charizard V is really underrated. It's the battle scene between Charizard and Venusaur, and this card being $200, I think, is an absolute steal. I don't recommend investing in singles. I'm not really a singles guy, but if there was a card to invest in, I would say this Charizard is probably up there. It's just $200 just seems so cheap, right? You have multiple cards in Scarlet and Violet I think are worse than this Charizard that are way over the price of this Charizard. Like, take the Greninja EX, for example. It's a great card, don't get me wrong, but that card being almost double the price of this Charizard just doesn't make sense, right? And then you have this Umbreon VMAX. Umbreon, just 2 sets ago, the VMAX version of Umbreon alternate art was, in Evolving Skies, and the greatest possibly the greatest modern chase card of all time, right? But now you have this Trainer Gallery Umbreon VMAX. Of course, it's easier to pull. I think the artwork, of course, not everyone's a fan of this artwork with the trainer, but still an Umbreon VMAX alternate art at the end of the day. And this only is sitting at $58, right? It's only like $150 for PSA 10. This is really undervalued in my opinion. Then you have Charizard, you have Sylveon, another Umbreon, you have Mimikyu, then you have Arceus, you have another Mimikyu, you have an Ultra Ball, you have some full arts, some gold cards, and then you have two really popular trainers in Marnie and Cynthia. And it keeps going, right? You have more trainer galleries. You have Vaporeon, you have Zekrom, you have Flareon, right? You have a lot of depth in Brilliant Stars. This is probably one of the best trainer galleries, if not the best trainer gallery, in my opinion, just in terms of the depth of the chases. And you have one of the best alternate art cards, in my opinion, in all of Sword and Shield, one of the most underrated as well. So you really can't go wrong with Brilliant Stars in that $400 booster box range, and I think that's still so undervalued. I really think that Brilliant Stars will be over a $500 to $600 booster box by the end of the year. So right now is probably your last chance. These next few months is your last chance to pick up Brilliant Stars for around that $400, because I really don't think it's going to stay at that price for much longer. You have sets like Paldea Evolved that's already, nearing 400. Would you rather have one Paldea Evolved, or maybe for 30 to 40 bucks more, you get a Brilliant Stars? Pick your poison, but I would much rather have Brilliant Stars in my opinion. And this is much, much older, right? February 24th, 2022. So this is basically already over 3 years old, right? In about a couple months, it's going to be nearing that 4-year-old mark, that's historically when sets start to appreciate really, really fast, is after they hit, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, that's when they start going up really, really quickly. So Brilliant Stars, probably the most undervalued set right now. Next is Silver Tempest. I only have one booster box of this, but I do want to pick up at least 1 to 2 more Silver Tempest booster boxes. I think this also is probably going to be the second most undervalued booster box, right behind Brilliant Stars. It has gone up a little bit. It's now sitting at about $380, but this was at the $360 range for a very long time. This Lugia, I think, actually will be one of the most expensive chase cards. It's gone up a lot now. Now it's $314, but I think this will continue to go up. I do like this Lugia a little bit better than the Charizard from Brilliant Stars. I think it's more of iconic artwork, but this Lugia alone, right, isn't going to carry the set. That's why Silver Tempest is really good, because it has this Rayquaza V, it has this Blaziken VMAX, has another Rainbow Lugia, it has Blaziken V again, and Trainer Gallery, Unknown, Regigago, right? These are decent Pokemon, but not the greatest. But then you have some more depth, right? You have Rainbows, you have Golds, you have Superior, you have this really cool Gold Rayquaza, you have Blissey, you have pretty good depth, I would say. Not the greatest Trainer Gallery compared to Brilliant Stars or Lost Origin. I would say this is probably the weakest Trainer Gallery, but still really great with the Blazikens, with the Rayquaza, with the Lugia, right? Blaziken is a top card of Chilling Reign. Well, you have it right here. Rayquaza is the second card in Evolving Skies, but you have a Rayquaza right here, and then Lugia, of course, right? All Lugia sets do well. Think about something like, Lost Thunder, think about Ancient Origins, think about other Lugia sets we've had in the past. Lugia sets always do well. I think Silver Tempest at $380 even is a fantastic buy. Would you rather have Silver Tempest or Paldea Evolved? But in my personal opinion, Silver Tempest is currently the better set. And lastly, we have Astral Radiance. This is the only Trainer Gallery booster box set in Sword and Shield that I don't currently own. I don't have this yet, but this is also the cheapest booster box for these late Trainer Gallery Sword and Shield sets, right? It's only $376. This is now cheaper than Silver Tempest. And do I think Astral Radiance is a better set than Silver Tempest? You can definitely make that argument, right? Of course, it doesn't have the top chase that Silver Tempest does in that Lugia, right? The Machamp is cool, but people are going to take that Lugia over this Machamp any day out of the week. But I still think it's a really cool card. It's a great artwork and it's a very popular Pokemon. But what really carries Astral Radiance for me is the Trainer Gallery, and I think this is one of the best Trainer Galleries in all of Sword and Shield. It has the Starmie V. This is probably the most iconic card for the Trainer Galleries, as well as this Garchomp V, right? I think these two, the Starmie and the Garchomp, are probably the two best cards from Sword and Shield Trainer Galleries. Two very popular trainers and two very popular Pokemon. And then you have the other alternate art cards of Astral Radiance, right? You have this Palkia, you have this Dialga, you have the Beedrill, the Sneasler, you have the Lilligant, right? These are all cards that are really, really great artworks. In my opinion, Astral Radiance has some of the best artwork out of any Sword and Shield set. I would say for Astral Radiance, it's really these top 10 cards that really carry this set. So I would say it's still a really good buy, even at 270, 280, or 370, 380. But I would much rather have these other sets prior to it. I would rather have Lost Origin, I would rather have Brilliant Stars, and I would rather have Silver Tempest, just because of the top trace, right? Having a top trace in a set is really important, right? People are going to be chasing this Lugia in the future. People are going to be chasing this Charizard, this Umbreon in the future. People are going to be chasing the Giratina and the Pikachus in the future. Let me know what you think about these sets in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.